Fancy intro music, yeah! Woo! Hey there, Star Trek Fleet Command fans. Welcome back to another video where today we're talking about officers. We're talking specifically about the Trinity. Shout out Ender, he wanted a shout out. This is the Marcus Charvanek Kang series. We're going to talk about the three of those officers and how they can play an important role. Now, a lot of the players in the higher levels, and even now where we're almost 2.5 years into the game, we can say even mid-tier levels, because at this point, if you're in the 30s, you're a mid-tier player. So whether you're in the highs in the 40s or even 50 or 30s, and even down into the 20s, we're going to talk about how these characters can change the game for you in a very specific way. And hint, the specific way is mitigation. Now, we will briefly go over the captain's abilities. These officers are all essentially identical. We will, of course, have the information from LCARs on the screen just for the flash up, but we'll focus on the officers themselves and explain how they work. As I said, they're basically all the same, with them being morale, burning, hull breach, and how they work. Now, starting off, they're really not terribly good in terms of their initial percentages. They're not bad, they're just not great. And that's fine, but if you want to really get the success that we're going to talk about in these videos, then you're going to have to get them up a little bit. The good thing is you don't have to get them very far depending on where you're at. And what I mean by that is, you take, for example, let's look at Marcus, but all of them are going to be the same. Starting off at a 100% officer bonus, you really, if you're in the 20s, if you can get him to rank 2, and that includes Charvanek and Kang, you see an immediate result, and we'll go over that in a second. But to start off with, let's talk about the captain's ability. At the start of each round, if the opponent's hull health is under 80% of its starting total, Alexander Marcus has an 80% chance of inspiring morale of the ship for 3 rounds. Bingo, 3. See that 3? Now, Marcus is one of many morale officers we have in the game. We've got him, we've got, well, both Sulus, we've got 2 Kirks now, so a lot of different morale officers who can help activate morale. This one is a tricky one because it requires you to damage the ship down to 80% of where it starts. Now, real key for this one, and this includes all 3 of these cards, is none of them are talking about what a ship is at 100% and then down to 80. What I mean by that is, let's say you've got a ship that has 1 million hull points. Well, it does not turn this ability on when it's 800,000 or less. It's 80% of whatever it starts at. So if it's at 1 million normally, but it's damaged down to 100,000, then you've still got to get it down to 80K before that morale will proc. So it does require you to go through a little bit more of the battle, which requires you to have a little bit more of the damage. It's one of the reasons that Marcus has been before not considered the strongest morale officer for the Enterprise, because the Enterprise is not really that strong. I mean, the Enterprise survives by the shields, not by its DPR. So it can take a while to get Marcus activated if you're using it for that particular ship. But let's use the next one just so we can show, look, same thing. Exact same thing, just now we're using burning instead of morale with Charvanek, and then you'll see the officer ability that I've got mine at 3, which is a 400%. Now, I've got the ability to upgrade some of these. I simply haven't yet, but you can start seeing the effects of them early on. Like I said, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But helmet. Should have looked at the helmet first. It's like, why is that ability wrong? So I can take him up to 3, but at the start of each round, 80% chance to deal a hull breach for 3 rounds. So now you see we're working with the same stuff across the board. And then, of course, here's the secondary, which I can take up to 400%. Now let's start taking about math in the game. And I figure we can make it easy by comparing it to, well, things that I have. So we're going to take a look as if we're going to take our Enterprise, and we're going to look at 2 different variables here. We're going to take the Enterprise, though, and then we're going to imagine, we're going to play a game, and we'll show this on the screen, don't worry, what it would look like if my Augur were to fight the Enterprise. Now, why did I choose this? Well, Enterprise is tier 9, Augur's tier 8, so they're similar tiered. And then we're also going to take a look at how mitigation changes can really affect the ship. So in this case, we're talking about maybe using the Marcus card on the Augur to inflate this number right here, the shield piercing. We want to get the shield piercing as high as we can so that we can overcome the shield deflection of the Explorer. And why do we want to do that? Well, we want to do that for one simple reason: mitigation. All of these officers are going to help us change mitigation, which determines how much damage you take in a fight. Really quickly, I'm going to pull up a log. We're not going to stick on this log very long, but really quickly, just to remind you how mitigation works. So we pull up this handy dandy notebook. So let's just look at any log, doesn't matter. The basics of mitigation are the same. Just the percentages of how much you mitigate will vary based on several different factors. But if we hop in the log here, you'll see, look, augur's taking damage, mitigated 319 of 448, which should end up being what, 71.9%, something like that. So right around max. That is mitigation. And then after that, it's how much goes to your shield and hull. So think of it kind of like it's deflecting off, and then what's left actually hits your ship and then does damage to your shield and to your hull. That's the basics of mitigation. So let's keep it moving. Now, if we're talking about using one of these Marcus cards or Charvanek, doesn't matter. For this battle, we're talking about using Marcus. Now let's take a max Marcus just so we can do the quick maths here. So if you have a max one, which is 1600% max, and then we're going to take we're just going to use an easy number, the officer bonus right here. We're going to just make it a flat 10,000. So 1600, 1,600% of 10,000 is going to jump you up from the mitigation that you see on the screen right now, which is 133,000. It's going to basically double it, more than double it, in fact. So because you're adding 160,000 more points to that shield piercing. So you're going to go from 34.5% mitigation if my augur was attacking the Enterprise. And then if we use that max Marcus, we're knocking that down to 25.7%. That's a 9% change. Now, all you non-math nerds are going, what the heck does that even mean? Remember that battle log we just looked at. Remember, mitigation is basically trash. Mitigation is all that stuff that doesn't actually hurt your opponent. Shield damage and hull damage are all that actually hurt. So the more mitigation an opponent has means the less damage you are doing to them. So if I can lower the mitigation, that means I'm putting forth more damage to the ship directly. Now let's give you a mathematical example of that. So let's say that my augur hit 1.5 million. The difference between those mitigation is, in the first picture, I would do 135,000 less damage from that 1.5 million shot than the second one, because that's how much of a difference that 9% mitigation can do. Now, look, we're talking numbers and that can be kind of screwy and confusing, but let's go down to the 20s and see if that can help us in our 20s. Let's look at a hijack D3 and a hijack Mayflower. Remember, these ships are essentially the same thing. Get the memes folder out the way. We'll use that for the video later. Let's take a look at that from a very basic standpoint, Mayflower versus D3. So if you start with the Mayflower stats that we have here as the attacker, you'll see that we've got armor piercing, shield piercing, and accuracy. All are going to be higher than our poor little D3. But if we still are magnifying that and adding more to it, we're going to get even better mitigation than we were before. Now, you look at these numbers and they're pretty small, which is why you can still have an impact even at, say, 200%. Here's how we can see that. So let's just go back in here and you see in this particular ship, I've got 3,700 points on the defensive side of things. Let's just use 3,000 as an example. If I've got a 400% bonus, that's 12,000 points that we're adding to our, you got it, accuracy. And how does that 12,000 points translate? So we went from 30.8% mitigation, we add 12,000, which takes us to 46,000, and we'll go down to 27.1. So over 3% of a mitigation change just by that very small amount with a weakened officer. Now, is that the best loadout you can do? Well, that's kind of up to what you have. But if you're running something like, say, a Yuki, Marcus, loadout, which is very common, so using shield strip plus mitigation, you're going to see some pretty good results. And that is why these three cards can all be very, very good. One of my favorite loadouts for the very high level players, like a Hegtop, is to run Gorkon, Kang, and Captain Killy. Captain Killy changing mitigation with Gorkon's ability and then taking it over the top with the Kang officer. You could then use Charvanek or Marcus. The point being, these three officers, the Trinity, if you will, because they all do the exact same thing, just for different ship types, are all very effective. Charvanek's going to help give you that little bit of oomph you need to get over those battleships, which have more armor. If you're fighting a interceptor like this before, you're going to need more accuracy to overcome dodge. And finally, Marcus is going to give you the shield piercing you need to overcome shield deflection. Those are all very important stats, and that's why it's so effective to attack an Enterprise with Marcus, because you overcome what is its biggest strength and you help lower that mitigation number. Hopefully this video made sense. If it didn't, comment down below and I'll be more than happy to try to go into more detail to explain this, because it's a 10-minute video that you could probably end up talking 30-40 minutes about, because there's a lot of math in this game. But this is what makes the Trinity so strong and why it's important to start working on them early on and trying to get them leveled up as you go up in rank, because eventually they become great when you need to crew out 3 or 4 ships for PvP, especially with all those territories out there. If this video helped you, smash the like button, live long and prosper, and think about donating to that PayPal Venmo. We're trying to, get a house, so help out. But anyway, live long and prosper, stay safe with those Space Cowboys, and we'll catch you in the next video of Star Trek Fleet Command. Wow.
Remember, Spock doesn't go on the Enterprise. Live long and prosper. All the best.
An even better outro than the intro for the Empire and glory to your house.